Hi, and welcome to Life Lessons with Barbara. And thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Barbara Aline Johnson, and I'll be sharing lessons I've learned. Some came harder than others from my many years of life experience, and some lessons I've learned from my work with other people for over 40 years as a counselor, a therapist, a consultant, and life coach. I am the owner of BEJ and Associates LLC, a transformational coaching and consulting company. My team and I specialize in dismantling barriers that stand between you and the life you truly want to live, or that business or that project or that masterpiece you hope to create. I want to give a shout out to Black Wall Street radio station for this amazing opportunity that allows me to spend this time with you. And if you like that smooth jam you're hearing, well, that's none other than lead guitarist extraordinaire Lois Lady Mac McMorris, and she's doing her signature piece called After the Rain. Now, to download After the Rain and to hear more of her tunes, go to my website, bej-associates.com. You can also hear as well as see past shows. You can hear more about my company and even sign up for a free 45-minute coaching session, but it's only going to last for a limited period of time, so do that right away. Again, that's bej-associates.com, and you're listening to Life Lessons with Barbara. Now here's more of Lady Mac's After the Rain. Stay tuned. Welcome to Life Lessons with Barbara, and today I have one of my most favorite clients. She's one of the first people that was willing to work with me even before I got certified, and her name is Melissa. And Melissa has a very interesting story, and I'm inviting her, if she so chooses, to tell as much of her story as she feels comfortable with, and then, to talk a little bit about how the coaching and all of that kind of blossomed into who she is now. Something like that.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi. Hi, Melissa.
Oh, goodness. Let's see here. When I started working with you, I was newly out of a very horrific relationship. I had, my feet were any place but under me. Trying to put one foot in front of the other on a daily basis was very difficult. I had no priority list. I had forgotten how to do those things for myself.
Mm-hmm. That relationship, how long had it gone on?
I spent 8 years in a very violent relationship. I've been told by a couple of different attorneys that after talking with them about what I lived through, that it's probably one of the most violent domestic violence stories that they've heard. I know that there are plenty of others who are horrifically more violent. There are women who don't make it out. But I was hospitalized twice with broken bones. Every weekend that my ex was home, or every week that he was there if he wasn't working, every day was just trying to not set him off.
Walking on eggshells.
constantly
Mm.
trying to escape the broken glass all over the floor. It really was.
Yes.
When I left, I was in pure survival mode, which was a different kind of survival mode from the 8 years that I'd lived.
Yeah.
I was safe, but it was safe, but needing to go to the courthouse or go for going to interact almost every day for a couple of weeks.
Domestic violence.
Yeah, there was all for the first several weeks. Every single day there was an appointment that had to be made or a legal step that had to be taken.
But before that, Melissa, we don't want to leave out one special.
My sweet boy. My very, very sweet boy. He was the reason. There are a lot of women who do not leave until something with their child winds up giving them the motivation. And he was my motivation. I could tell that he needed learning assistance, that his father was unwilling to allow him to be involved in. And what really did it was looking at him one day and realizing, if I don't get out of here, his father's going to be raising him by himself. And I couldn't let that happen.
How old was your son when you made that decision?
He was a little over 2.5. I made that decision a little over midway through February of 2012. And he was born April 23rd. So he was about to turn 3.
Let me ask you this, because there may be some women in the audience who are going through now what you went through, but there had to have something happened inside of you, at some point you found the strength to change the situation. And
I didn't want to die.
Okay.
That I just didn't want to die. I didn't want to be taken out of the house in a body bag, and my son being raised by his father.
Yes.
And that was it. It was pure, the most basic of mothering instincts.
Yes, yes. And I remember that resolve you had, and you were full of rage too. I don't know if you.
Oh my God, unbelievable rage.
Yes, yes. And I remember that. And so our challenge was to channel that rage.
Yes.
And to start moving in purposeful, definite taking definite steps towards your emancipation, your freedom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a trigger point, or was there something in particular that happened that, where this belief in yourself kicked in?
I watched a podcast. It was about it was a TED Talk. I cannot remember her name. She was wearing all black. She had gone to Harvard. She was a very well-educated, amazing businesswoman who, despite all of that, had married a guy who was, before she even walked down the aisle, she knew that he lived with 3 guns, and he punched her and etc. before they even got married. And she still walked down the aisle, and she still kept the fantasy. And when she left, she was able to recover and to move forward and to find a really great person and remarry and reclaimed her life 100%.
That's interesting that you happen to see that.
I happened to see that Thursday before the Wednesday that I left. It was basically a week after I saw before that, chronology was I saw that on a Thursday. I got in touch with a couple of girlfriends, I think Friday. By Monday of the next week, and I thought, okay, I'll do this in like 2 weeks. By Monday of the next week, I had started setting it in motion. By Wednesday, I was at the courthouse. I thought I was going to put it off for financial reasons, and I suddenly realized, why am I going to stay here to go through finances with somebody who is in all likelihood going to punch me during that financial session at some point? Why am I going to do that to myself? So I didn't. It's amazing how much you can find yourself when you're simply ready to do it.
Yes. And is there anything that you can attribute that to? And okay, so where I'm headed is,
Yes, ma'am.
Was there some kind of spiritual awakening or something, maybe watching that TED Talk or something that kicked in and gave you, empowered you with resolve that you didn't have before, that overtook the fear?
It reminded me that it gave me this person, because I have a college education. I was employed. I had a sense of self. I had a sense of purpose before I met him. I was shown the moon and stars. I just didn't realize they were nothing more than, flashlights on the ceiling, basically. He still is a very typical malignant narcissist. Very charming. And as soon as he knows that he's got somebody under his thumb, he starts taking the pieces of self away. I think that most of us who get into that, there are pieces of us that are already fragile when we meet them. And it's whether or not we are ready to really own ourselves when we leave, as to whether or not we get enmeshed in another one and another one and another one afterwards. I love myself.
Yeah.
And it didn't take that much after I left him to really start figuring out who I really was again.
And that's when I met Melissa.
Yes, that's when we
already met. There. And, full of energy, and, that was fueled by, anger and all that stuff. And so that's when we started our work together, just channeling all of
that. I've slowly burned some of that anger off. Although I will say, for what it's worth, the current situation that we are in this country, having spoken with quite a few women who have gone through what I've gone through, our PTSD is flaring all over the place. And I think for a lot of us, the only way that we are keeping our feet on the ground is because we have done so much work.
Mm-hmm.
Those of us who are keeping our feet on the ground.
Right. Right. So what advice, we'll talk about how you came to, to get where you are now. And now I'm looking forward to that conversation. But for our listeners, what life lessons or what words of wisdom would you like to impart? Because, well, let me just set the premise that what is obvious, like the woman on TED Talk that you observed, who was was major inspiration for you, it says that you don't have to be. I mean, you said that maybe there's some pieces of you that are fragile, but very capable women like yourself find themselves in that kind of situation.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have, reflecting back, can you recall when you gave up your power to him or to that relationship?
I don't know that there was any one defining moment. I think it was a lot of people pleasing and spending years of my life being overeager to make someone other than myself happy. This might sound trite, but the whole concept of women are brought up as little girls to find the prince who's going to take care of us.
And that's no matter how smart or how accomplished or beautiful they are.
Right.
Yeah, it's a conditioning.
Right. And what the disservice that we as parents, and mind you, I just have a son, but I'm seeing it in him when he's like, well, mommy, I'm a prince. And I'm like, well, guess what? You're still my son. And you're only a prince if your mama's a queen. And sometimes I throw in there, and since I happen to be a goddess,
we went from queen to goddess.
I will do what I have to do to keep his feet on the ground. But to take it back, we do little girls a disservice in pushing this whole concept of find your prince. Princes are charming. Princes don't know how to take care of anything other than, looking really good and making themselves seem better than they are. We're not, our society's not teaching little girls to learn how to be queens in their own life. Find Prince Charming. Have someone who takes care of you. You let them take care of you. They should be doing all of these things for you. It's not honey, learn how to pay your bills, have a job, take care of yourself, keep your home up. Just because you have a car and you go to work 5 days a week does not mean that you're taking care of your stuff. It means that you're being an adult. It doesn't mean that you're ready for someone super impressive to come and sweep you off your feet. It means you're being a grown up. Learn how to be a grown up.
That's a good life lesson.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. I'm car 6, and I am constantly trying to teach him things. Consent, positive consent. Boys are not being taught certain things. Girls are not being taught certain things. And then they grow up and boys think that they can take what they want and girls think that they're supposed to be doormats. and be saved.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to be a saved doormat. and I'm not saying that I grew up thinking that I was a princess, but there was enough conditioning to fall for someone who pretended that he was something he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through 8 years of hell.
Yeah.
And when I met you, it was learning how to put one foot in front of the other, learning how to make priority lists.
Mm-hmm. That's what
being able to make decisions and not struggle over making a decision.
So in that sense, you've given a lot of people hope, because you came into that relationship very capable, very, you knew who you were, you had a sense of yourself and all of that, but then there was this thing inside that was part of your conditioning.
Yes.
That said, you should have a Prince Charming, someone to take care of you, someone who, would just open the world to you. Mm-hmm. Which is telling little girls, like you said, that you're not okay by yourself.
Right.
You're not enough in and of yourself. Mm-hmm. And so those are really, really important life lessons to pass on. And I appreciate you sharing your personal experience and letting other people know, because I think sometimes there's shame involved.
There's a lot of shame involved.
I'm working with someone now who's very capable, just awesome, in and of herself. I mean, she's just got a whole lot of things going for her.
Yep.
But she has allowed she's in a relationship where she's not honored. Mm-hmm. And I have theories about that, but what is it that, you have to keep your thumb on somebody, you know what I mean, to hold something down, some insecurity on his part or whatever. But no matter, we're all, I guess the point I want to make is that everybody is vulnerable. I mean, there's no, there's no way to make yourself less vulnerable. I mean, because some people are, like you said, narcissistic, which is a personality disorder.
It is.
And they spend a whole lifetime cultivating that. So they nail the charm. I mean, they can charm they read you.
Yes.
They read you, they see what they pick up on weaknesses and stuff because they have been, honing those skills all their life.
Yeah. Since they were a kid.
Exactly. So
being taught that it's okay.
Right. But the shame is, when you start to feel like, well, I must have been an idiot to get into this, and now that I'm in it, I hate that attitude about making your bed. You made this bed, so you gotta lie in it. But I think some of us have that mentality. And that's one of the things that, as a life coach, we try to, get a person to see that that's not true.
Correct. Correct.
We were.
Well, one thing that I found, one thing that you helped me with was it doesn't matter what your best girlfriend says to you. It doesn't matter what your parent, you're an adult, what your mother says to you or what both of your parents say to you. Those things don't matter because those people know you really well. But when you've got somebody on the outside who you're cultivating kind of a therapeutic relationship with, and you as that outside person are able to see in us what we are not in a space to see within ourselves. Even though, mom is telling me that well, you've got all this vitality and you're super smart and you're this and you're that, and you're hearing it from girlfriends and whomever else. Having that person, having you there and reflecting back some of those same things, but it's not family and it's not your girlfriend.
Right.
It's not someone who you sit and share a pint of ice cream with, instead of dinner because you're depressed and you're going through a low spot that day.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's okay. So you've got all this stuff. You are smart. You're capable. You're talented. Now, what are you going to do with it? What are you? Let's get started on your values. What are values? Oh, I forgot about my own values. You help me to go through and start the process of figuring out things have shifted. A few things have shifted over the last couple of years, but there was plenty of those values that are still exactly the same. They've just maybe evolved a little bit because we evolve in life.
Right. And the objectivity of a life coach.
Yes.
The kind of helper.
Exactly.
Is really valuable because, like you said, family and friends, they love you.
They
give you.
They will support you down a path of nails.
You were so gung-ho when we started working together, and I just had to slow you down. Slow down. Let's just 1, 2, maybe 3 things to work on, but not 93. But and it was a pleasure. I mean, really, you were real easy.
Honey, when I got to you, I was so ready to strip every single piece of my life, of what had been my life, off of me and throw it into a bonfire.
I know. We had to slow your roll a little bit, but it was a great experience for me as a new life coach, to work with someone who's already has that resolve, has connected with her true self, and knew your capabilities, and the fact that there was someone who was going to be detrimental to your son. That was the catalyst right there.
Oh, I discovered how much of a mama bear I am.
I know. So, but I really appreciate you, sharing all of that, Melissa. I really do. And so I guess this is a good time to transition. And I want to say too, before we move on from this, for anybody out there if you're in a situation like this, maybe it doesn't even have to be violent.
It doesn't. There a lot of domestic violence is emotional and psychological and financial. Feeling like if you leave, that you will have nothing and no support. And they cannot take your children away. They can threaten it, but the courts are the ones who have the final say on that. They are only as deep into your head as you allow them to be.
True. And sometimes they're there already before you realize it. You're second guessing yourself all the time when you are going to them for validation all of a sudden.
Oh, absolutely. And they will they will tell you that you're awesome one moment and invalidate you 5 other places the next minute to just keep you right where they want you.
Right. So you can go by a woman can go by her gut and know when things are not right. And it's a matter of just being willing to, to look at that.
Yes.
And when you no longer can make decisions, you have to go to him for, to make a decision.
Yeah.
You have to go to him to okay something, or, when you become the child, sort of, and
Yes.
he's the adult, and you
Absolutely
appeal to this person, and you're going to feel that in your gut. And I don't know about most people, but I do believe that there is a place inside you that that throws up that red flag that that's wrong. But we tend to ignore it, and we think, oh, well, maybe if I make him his favorite dinner and and dress up and or whatever when he comes home,
all of it,
whatever, to try to please them. When you see yourself getting there or going there, then it's time to back up and start looking at that.
Yes.
Because it tends to get worse before it ever gets better.
Oh, the only way to make it better is to leave.
Yeah.
There's nothing that we can do to make them better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And better.
That's the lie that they tell, that if you just do this, it'll, or as soon as we buy the house, or as soon as I have this job, or, as soon as the third child comes, or whatever, then everything will be better. And all that it's doing is buying them time in your life.
Right. And getting you more and more entrenched and under control.
Absolutely.
And so the longer you wait, the harder it is to get away.
Yep.
So anyway, I hope people were listening.
I hope so too.
Yeah. So, and I know things aren't perfect yet, but you still are in control, and of your life.
Yes, I am.
Yes. And so why don't you let's transition now to where you are now.
BEJ and Associates LLC offers a broad array of services, including life coaching, to help achieve your personal goals, planning, facilitation, and presentations of workshops, seminars, and conferences, various customized services, diverse and personalized addictions intervention, and organizational staff development. We specialize in dismantling barriers to individual and organizational achievement. BEJ and Associates. Enlighten, inspire, motivate at bej-associates.com.
Where I am now, let's see here. I am self-sufficient. I am happy. I went back and applied to get my license back and got my massage license back. So I have my own business. I am fully self-employed now. I am in Raleigh, off Six Forks. My business is called Return to Wellness. I do therapeutic massage therapy, deep tissue trigger point medical massage. I am certified to do, or trained to do prenatal and hot tone as well. I use essential oils all the time. I'm a extremely happy mom. I use the oils on my son and myself all the time. I got back into doing energy work, and now my son will come to me and, Mommy, my tummy hurts. Is there an oil? And there is. And he'll have me massage it into his belly. Mommy, will you do some energy work on me?
He's 6 now, right?
He's 6.
Oh, I love that age.
So, and he wants all of his friends to come and to have their parents come and see me, and I have to explain to him that that's just not really how we work it.
I think, and maybe you don't want to brag, but I heard that you are especially gifted at doing this kind of work, and that people have gone to a lot of other therapists, massage therapists and chiropractors and stuff, and you were the one that found the relief.
Yeah. Yes. I've had clients who have been through multiple accidents, broken bones that didn't heal properly, etc. And they've been going to therapists as they travel, because they travel for work. And they come see me and they're like, okay, for as long as I'm here on this job, I'm seeing you, because you're the only one who's been able to like loosen it up and, work past my waistline, because everybody gets stuck in their back, and I've been able to loosen up stuff in their lower body, etc. I think we have a common friend who told me that in 30 years of getting massage, I'm the only one who's ever done the kind of work that I do on her.
Yes. Wow.
Because I combine the deep tissue and the energy work. And it seems like there are only a few of us who combine those things. There might be others, but I don't know what the difference is. I just know that my clients are very happy.
Yes, maybe it's because you do combine the two. So we have a few more minutes. So kind of tell, as much as we laymen can understand, what is the energy work thing about, and what's the advantage, and what does it reveal?
Okay, the energy work. The way that I've explained this to several clients is you can get the stuff massaged out of your body, out of your, you get stuff loosened out of your muscles.
Okay, what stuff?
Tightness, trigger points, where, I fell, 2 months ago and I sprained my ankle and stuff, and I go in and I find the calf muscles that got really tightened up and get all that stuff out, and come to find out they had, I was a runner for like 10 years. And I'm like, yeah, I can tell, because your calves are just completely jacked up. And I start working it out, technical term. And get things loosened up, and suddenly they're like, oh my God, I didn't know my calves could feel like this, because they forgot what normal muscle tissue felt like. And that's a common theme with quite a few runners, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked on quite a few. But you can get that stuff worked out, and you can go to a therapist or even do work on yourself and get your head kind of squared away with your thoughts and your feelings.
Right. Yes.
But the way that I say it is, but your body and your brain didn't transmit that this stuff has been worked through to your energy.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got 7 chakra centers from our, basically our perineum. So way down at the bottom of our body, up to basically the base of our spine. Okay. So from the base of our spine, to make it nice and clean, from the base of our spine to the crown of our head, we've got 7 chakras in our body along our spine.
And chakras are centers.
The energy centers. They're energy centers. And so you've got the root chakra, the sacral chakra, solar plexus, which is right at your gut, heart, throat, third eye, and crown.
Okay.
And because I'm a Reiki master, I'm aware of those energy centers and working with them when I do Reiki on myself or do Reiki on others.
Can you tell us what Reiki is, and then simplify the significance of the chakras, each chakras?
Okay. Reiki is energy healing. It's channeling divine energy, the universal energy, for healing of yourself or someone else.
You can do it for someone else, huh?
Yes. Absolutely. But because I'm a Reiki master, it depends, because there's Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki 3, and Reiki Mastership. Reiki 1 and Reiki 2, I'd basically say work on yourself. But the chakras, so the root chakra is your groundedness. It's your connection to, let's see here, how to describe that. So when you feel like you're being pulled in 50 different directions and kind of like your feet up in the air, that's when that root chakra is kind of off, imbalanced.
So it's what grounds you?
It's what grounds you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Sacral chakra is kind of your creative and procreative energy.
So is that like in the abdominal area, or where?
Think of it right in your sacrum, like right above your pelvic bone. Okay. Your pubic bone. Mm-hmm. So it's right in that area. And so so for you, if you had a big project that you wanted to get done, and you were looking at it, and you're like, oh my God, no, I don't even want to deal with this right now. And then something triggers, and suddenly for like 3 days, you are just working it, and you are plowing through it. That energy has flipped to the creative side, and you're just working through it. Oh. So that's where your creative energy comes from. Mm-hmm. Procreative energy, I think, is kind of self-explanatory. Your solar plexus is your fight or flight. Mm. It's where you can feel where if someone has kind of emotionally kicked you in the gut, you feel it there. Okay. If you are feeling like a ton of joy in your life, it can be because that energy is full. And think like those days when you just feel filled with sunshine. Yeah. That's when that energy is full and it's just radiating joy. Heart.
That's the one I got nailed on. Believe me, they know all about me already. So.
Throat is your communication energy. Okay. So how I started realizing my connection with the chakras and working with them out beyond just basic Reiki was I was working with some clients, and I was noticing the same clients with the same issues chronically. Mm-hmm. So their neck would always be tight. Mm-hmm. And
so that's related to the heart chakra?
Yes. Oh. So when the heart is feeling really okay, so let's see if this makes sense. A heart chakra that is overactive is going to be you're going to have traits and behaviors of extreme codependency. You're going to be having being emotionally abused. You're going to be allowing yourself to be a doormat to other people, and you're going to be giving and giving and giving and allowing them to take and take and take.
So what if when it's underactive?
No, when it's when that heart energy is in overdrive.
Oh.
So when it's in balance, you're able to give until you feel like it's no longer safe, and then you are able to stop.
Okay.
You're able to determine when you are giving too much of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to feel it. When it's in overdrive, and kind of where the energy is just leaking out in overdrive, and it can get stuck there, like me for 8 years. You're constantly giving, and there's no way that you can give enough.
Mm-hmm. And you eventually get depleted, right?
You're running on fumes, but you're so in that state where you just keep on doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then it brings you up to all these things that you need to be communicating, and you're not. And that's when all of these muscles get locked, and they stay locked.
Mm-hmm.
I've had clients where I connect in, and I feel physically like I'm choking. My throat is closing up, and it's almost like I'm coughing out fur balls. Which sounds really extreme, except I've gotten accustomed to having this experience. So it's like, okay, this is what happens, and I know what it is.
Right.
And then this
is your high intuitiveness. This is
it's me being able to read their energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I always let them know before we even get started. I might ask you questions. You don't necessarily have to answer them to me. I need you to answer them to yourself, honestly. Because if somebody is in a state where they're coming to me, but they're just getting ready to realize something significant in their life, they don't need to feel like they have to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that they just need to become aware of. Because what I've discovered in working with my clients is voicing it can be beneficial. The awareness of it is what's important.
Mm-hmm.
Once the self-awareness comes, it's like that energy has been communicated, and it's ready to be released.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's for that client to then go home and do the homework.
And do the process,
do the processing. So as I'm sure that you've discovered with your clients, and I'm pretty sure that I discovered it with you as well, and probably rediscovered it over the last couple of years a couple of times. It's not always beneficial to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it.
Yeah.
And vent. One of the worst things that we can do is vent off to 4 different girlfriends at 4 different times about the same thing.
Every time you tell it, you reinforce it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. When we write it out in journal, and we're honestly journaling, and we're digging into the gut, that's when it starts releasing. That's when it processes, and that's when that energy, I don't know the mechanism. I have no idea. I just know that my clients who have had that stuff stuck there, and they become aware of it, and then they go home and they start journaling every time stuff starts coming up. It processes that out, and then they're able to have some of those really hard discussions that they haven't been willing to have with loved ones.
Yeah.
Or with people who should be loved ones, but it's not safe to be loved ones with.
Yeah, and that I run into that a lot too as a life coach, where people are, and it's understandable that you expect a mother to be motherly, you expect the dad to be, his
loving and supportive and strong and what have you.
And so there are expectations that we have of family members that they, for whatever reason, cannot, cannot provide that for us.
Exactly.
And we miss all these other people and all these other things that could, that could bring it, that could fill that void.
Yes.
Boy, it's got to be the mom or she, and people get stuck there, trying to make somebody be different than what they really are. So anyway, I'm glad you brought that up too, because I wanted to say that. We have 2 more chakras you got to tell us about. Right?
Okay, 2 more chakras. I can get stuck in these things. Let's see here. So third eye is awareness of yourself, connection within. Listening to that inner voice, which is something that we have a hard time doing. That when that little voice is telling us to take a step or to not take a step. We lose track of it, and when we do, it can bring on headaches. It can bring on where the thoughts just kind of start getting really flighty. It can manifest in a lot of different ways. Crown chakra is our connection to spirit. It's not often that either, I'm not saying it never happens, I'm saying it's not often that the crown chakra and the root chakra are either or both imbalanced. It's usually between sacral and third eye, but it does happen. We can just get so out of balance that we're not feeling that connection. And what I do is to figure out which ones are out of balance. And then I go through and start figuring out, because each chakra has very specific oils, essential oils, that can help nourish it and feed it.
I don't know, but anyway, it was great. It smells good too. I think
we got to get together. And my chakra session full is about 2 to 2.5 hours. And between kind of intake of going through and talking about it, the session itself, because it incorporates the oils, and for every single chakra there's, I think, about 6 or 8 oils that can go with it. And then after we go through and do all the oils, then I do all of the energy work, and that's when I start reading and figuring out, okay, has something, I'm at the solar plexus, and I'm like, I'm feeling like, there's been something that's happened, and it was just a real giant kick to the gut, like a shock and awe.
And you can pick that up just by...
And I have been able to pick that up. Well, sometimes it's an image that I can see, and sometimes it's where I feel like I've just been kicked in the gut.
So you kind of experience a special intuition.
I have had clients where I have experienced this feeling, and it's kind of emanating through me as I'm there at that chakra. And I have had tears with some of my clients, because the pain that I am feeling is so much that I really just want to give them a hug. But they're not there for me to give them a hug. They're there for me to help them understand what it is that they've been feeling. But yeah, if you've had a lot of pain and a lot of stuff in your life, come on in, see me. Let's do a check-in. Let's see what's going on with your energy. You know, the worst that we can do is find out that, you know, well, everything's kind of balanced, and you know, let's just have a long massage, or, you know, let's switch this into a massage session. Otherwise, it could be really beneficial to open and release. And there are plenty of schools of thought out there that go with the idea, the longer we keep that kind of stuff trapped in us, the more it's a breeding ground for disease.
All right, well, we have run out of time, but what I want to do is to give you an opportunity to tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, so you can find me on the web at www.returntowellnessnc.com. You can find me on Facebook under Return to Wellness. And you can find me at, I'm off of Six Forks. Let's see here. Let me see if I can remember it off the top of my head. Oh, that's a good one.
The address is on your website, though, is it?
Yes, the address is on my website. You can call me or text me, 919-999-0723. I'm now there full time, and I have some pretty good flexibility.
All right. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you, my dear. And thank you for letting me talk so long about what I do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fascinated.
I love what I do, and I love that I can do self-care. I love that I can work on my son, and I love that I can be a safe place for people who are really trying to figure out what's going on and heal from what's been going on.
Right. Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Barbara.
Well, that's our show for today. Thank you again for tuning in to Life Lessons with Barbara. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you'd like to hear Melissa's story again, you can go to my website, bej-associates.com, and click on the radio tab. And once you get there, look for Bwsr Show number 3. While you're there, you can download the fabulous Lady Max After the Rain and check out her other tunes. You can also learn more about BEJ and Associates. And let me remind you about this huge 3-day 80th birthday celebration in honor of the legendary African-American entrepreneur and humanitarian Dr. Joe L. Dudley Sr. And that will take place May 20th through the 22nd in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And all the information you'll need to register for the various events that weekend are on my website, bej-associates.com. And if you missed my interview with Dr. Dudley, you can now also hear that again on the website. It's show number 1. And I especially encourage you to order your $15 ticket for the Marathon Mastermind meeting on May 20th, when you'll get to hear firsthand from Dr. Dudley and other African-American millionaire and billionaire entrepreneurs who will inspire and encourage us with their stories of success. So be a part of this major movement to revitalize our community and be motivated to become personally more prosperous in the process. So join us. I'd love to see you there. Sign up at bej-associates.com. Now, our life lesson for today is from Melissa. Nothing good will ever require you to give up your personal power to another human being. Until we meet again next Saturday at 2 p.m. for Life Lessons with Barbara, have a wonderful week. Namaste.